Oakcrest Falcons head coach Sean Olson. Sean, thanks for hopping on. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I know results-wise, tough day for your Falcons yesterday. You go up against a non-league opponent in Cherry Hill West, and you guys lose by a run. But, you know, in coaching, you can always come away with some positives from that. Obviously, going up against a big-time school there from outside of the league, even in the loss, you know, what do you take away from a game like that? What did you like that your guys did out there on the diamond?
Certainly, definitely a lot of positives came out of that game yesterday. I know, obviously, the score didn't turn out in the end the way we wanted it, but with the young group that we have, it's real positive to see the resiliency that we show throughout these games. You know, we go down early to a very good team out of Cherry Hill West, and we show a lot of grit to come back, and we were actually in really good position in the bottom of the seventh to go ahead and take that game with a runner on second and one out. And we hit the ball hard, just, you know, couldn't get a bounce our way. But, you know, our guys battle. They never give up, and they're certainly not afraid to come back or, you know, give in to any type of team, no matter who it is.
Obviously, you're one of the younger coaches in the Cape Atlantic League and really trying to build something there at Oakcrest now. You know, a lot of games under your belt there. How are you feeling from the time you stepped in to the time, the sort of era you're at right now? I mean, have you seen things progress the way you've liked them to there in Mays Landing?
Absolutely. You know, coming in, our first goal was to just get competitive in pretty much all of our games. You know, that's kind of where we wanted to go first and foremost. You know, we try to set realistic goals each year. And, you know, usually the number one on the list is compete at all times. And we've been able to do that. You know, I heard Sully mention earlier about the ups and downs we experience as public coaches. You know, we've experienced that, and we've been on both sides of it. You know, last year we were a very senior-heavy starting lineup with lots of experience, and then this year, you know, it's pretty much a whole new look, and we've been able to remain competitive. Kind of, you know, relayed that to our guys this morning that, hey, you know, if you take anything away from yesterday, it's you should see our potential and what we need to do to, you know, maximize that potential.
Your team playing in the Haddon Township tournament earlier on this year. You won that tournament. No He-Delt tournament there in Mays Landing this year, unfortunately, but you do get a chance to play in this other tournament and you win it. What was that experience like? And again, I would think another one of those sort of building situations, but the results there certainly in your favor.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we were really disappointed that we were unable to host the He-Delt again this year. You know, we'll definitely work harder next year to, you know, secure more teams and host that tournament again, because it is a very good tournament. But giving us the opportunity to travel out of the Cape Atlantic League and head into the Haddon Township tournament just gives our guys more experience. You know, we're playing against different teams from different areas that we normally don't get to see. And, you know, we're going to experience some ups and downs with a younger group. So, you know, we took our bumps the first two games. Heading into the tournament, we're still a little unsure. And we come out of there with two big wins. And, you know, it kind of got the ball rolling to, hey, you know what? We're young, but we can do this. You know, we certainly have the capabilities to be competitive and compete with these teams and win games. So that really started the momentum shift for us of realizing where we can go with this group of kids.
Checking in right now with Sean Olson, head coach of the Oakcrest Falcons baseball team here. Again, Oakcrest, tough loss yesterday to Cherry Hill West 6-5. But, Sean, you guys, what, 500 right now on the season?
Yeah, currently we're sitting at 6-6. And again, our schedule, especially being in the Cape Atlantic League side that we are in, there's really no days off or easy games where you can kind of sit back and say, you know what, I think we should get this one. We got to show up every day because our schedule is jam-packed with highly competitive teams that, you know, are very good. So sitting at 6-6, I wouldn't say I'm thrilled about it, but I am pleased. I think we can push the bar a little higher, and we're going to certainly get to work on that today in practice in about an hour.
You mentioned earlier on sort of a big turnover in terms of your roster from a year ago, but I know you do have a few guys back leading the way. You know, who are those guys that you've been counting on so far this season, those guys that not only you count on for production, but you count on to try and, you know, teach and coach some of the younger guys as well?
Yeah, we got a few guys coming into that role. I mean, we're looking at only 3 seniors this year on our roster, and we've got, 8 underclassmen, 3 freshmen, 5 sophomores. So it's a heavy role with the 3 seniors that are returning and the group of juniors that have had a little bit of experience in the past. Ryan Johnson, he's a junior for us. He's got a lot of varsity experience under his belt. So he's done a great job in helping the younger guys Troy Manna is another guy behind the plate. He's in his fourth year as being a catcher, and he's taken a big role in preparing some of our younger catchers, the freshmen and sophomores that are with us in practice, of explaining to them, hey, how we do things, what we expect, and I can hear him throughout the whole practice constantly coaching these kids up. So those are two main guys that are really taking control of younger guys and getting them ready as the season progresses.
Obviously, most, if not all, of the talk on this show is about teams at the varsity level, but you guys do a really cool thing there in Mays Landing, which is host this junior varsity tournament every year. I know Oakcrest hosting it once again this year. What are some of the benefits to not only organizing this, but getting a chance to see your JV guys sort of, develop their game and try to compete and obviously one day get up to that varsity level?
Yeah, us hosting the JV tournament is a great thing every year, and it shows because every year we have more and more teams asking to be a part of it. Just yesterday I had another team asking if they can join. So we're currently up to 9 teams. We'll probably end up expanding it again next year to hopefully 12 or 14. But the biggest thing that we get out of that is not only getting to see our JV guys compete, but it gives all the junior varsity level kids that participate in the tournament something to play for, because they don't have the tournaments to look forward to. They don't have the playoffs to look forward to. So it gives them a chance to really say at the end of the day, hey, we're going to go compete and try to win something rather than just showing up for games or practices. So you can feel the excitement level. It's just as much as we would see at a varsity tournament because these kids, again, finally get to say, hey, we get to compete for some sort of championship.
And people forget sometimes, 9 players can play at a time on baseball. It's not like football where you need 11. Sometimes those guys at the JV level, they're guys that could be playing varsity, but you stick them down there to get more reps. And a lot of times people don't understand that, but it's all about ABs in baseball. So if the guys aren't going to get a ton at the varsity level, why not put them on JV, let them develop a little bit for a year?
Yeah, without a doubt. Getting those guys the reps is important because it is such an important thing for baseball players to constantly stay with the reps. And, it is beneficial to come up and watch and learn the speed of the varsity game. But then again, you don't want to lose your abilities or where you're at by not getting the reps in. So it gives these guys a lot of games we're now expanded to 2 weekends. So it gives them 2 weekends to really get a lot of reps in there and keep their ability level of where it needs to be. And if not, get a little better while also coming up at the varsity level to watch and learn the speed of the game.
Sean Olson, Oakcrest baseball coach, our guest right now on the South Jersey Sports Report, 97.3 ESPN FM. Sean, let's go back a little bit to before you got the head coaching job at Oakcrest. Let's go back a little ways further than that. You played your college baseball at Ryder, obviously Division I program there, and in a new group of kids this year, they know you played some high-level college baseball. And again, we mentioned it, one of the younger coaches in the league. Can you relate to your guys a little bit more? Do they see the fact that, hey, you worked hard, you were able to get that spot on a D1 team? It is possible for a kid from this area to do that. Does that inspire your kids a little bit?
You know what? We really do use that a little bit, but I try not to focus the kids on me and what I've accomplished. But what I am able to do is kind of relate to them and, say things that maybe I wish I would have done differently. I see a lot of kids that come in with high-level ability and show great potential, and I'm able to talk to them not so much about what I achieved, but what I could have done better. So I really try not to focus on what I was able to accomplish, but I can say, hey, guys, listen, if I could go back and do it again, I would spend much more time in the weight room. I would have spent more time in the batting cage knowing that I was a catcher, and I lost a lot of reps with offensive days where I had to go catch bullpens rather than being in the batting cage. So I'll use more of that line of talk with them where I can say, hey, you know what, where I am now, if I could have gone back, I would have done this differently, and I would like to see you guys do that so that way maybe you don't have those regrets when you get older and you gave it everything you could.
Now, before you took the head job at Oakcrest, you were an assistant coach at Cedar Creek with Mike Isgro out there, and I know I talked to you guys a few years ago when you were first putting that program together. Obviously, a lot of differences between building a program from scratch and sort of trying to rebuild now at Oakcrest and build something up. But, how much did that experience help you in terms of not only getting the head coaching job at Oakcrest, but also learning from that? And really, what did you take from that experience at Cedar Creek that you apply with the Falcons?
That time spent there was just gave me such a wealth of knowledge because being able to be a part of starting a program, I was able to see what happens and what goes on from the ground up of how we can get this thing going and what we need to do to motivate kids, get them on track where we need to be. So there was a lot of invaluable information that, I really, really appreciated and was able to use coming to Oakcrest, because in essence, it was kind of the same where, we wanted to eliminate some of the stuff that we had in the past and say, hey, guys, now that we're here, we're going to start over fresh, and we're going to start from day one, kind of like I was doing with Mike Isgro at Cedar Creek. And also before that, I was able to volunteer with Brian Wastella at Absegami when I was there for a half a year as a teacher. And he's already been a coach for a long time, so I was able to see all sides of the coaching aspect, what it's like to start a program, what it's like to be an established coach in a program. So taking all that wealth of knowledge and kind of shaping it into my own, ease the nerves of coming into a first-time head coaching position at Oakcrest.
And for people that don't know, your father, obviously a very successful coach as well at the high school level at Sacred Heart. That school closes. He's now coaching at Cumberland County College, doing great things out there. I mean, it's softball versus baseball, but are you talking with your dad after games? You guys kind of giving each other some tips there as well?
We talk nonstop. That's definitely an area where we've been able to click and say, what do you do? What are we doing? And, there are some differences in the baseball, softball aspect. But when it comes down to it, the majority of what we need to develop in our kids is the mental side of the game. So even though the field's smaller, the pitching's different, all different physical aspects of baseball versus softball, when it comes down to it, it's how can we better our kids for the mental side of the game, because that's what the majority of baseball and softball is. So we talk nonstop on that. We definitely take our jabs at one another all the time after a tough game or a good win. He's always coming at me about how I can get these guys to be better. And, I always tell him, you get the benefits of recruiting, so come try it when you can't recruit. So we go back and forth. We have fun with it. But, again, I've learned so much from him, and what he's been able to do is to just stay successful no matter where he goes. So hopefully I can reach that point in my coaching career.
All right, we'll get you out of here with one final question. What would you like to see from your Falcons the rest of the way? Do you put specific goals on it? You'd like to see your team get to this level of the playoffs, or is it more of a, sort of see how things develop? I know you guys are young. What are your expectations the rest of the way?
The rest of the way, I think now what I've kind of done differently than in the past is with such a new, younger group, I've kind of taken a step back and let them find their identity and see where they wanted to take this season. Through 12 games, I think our coaching staff has a really good idea of what we can do and what we should do as a group. So now it's our job to step in and solidify the things that maybe we're struggling with to keep us, more competitive and put more wins on the board. So we're going to step in now more as a coaching staff now that the guys have gelled together. They've got experience. They look more comfortable. They're competing. So it's now our job to take this identity that they've formed and maximize its potential. And like I said, that's what we're going to get to work with right now. I don't think we need to spend any more time of trying to figure out who we are. I think we have a good idea. So we're going to finish off the end of the season as best we can and get as much steam rolling into playoffs as we can.
All right, young but exciting team this year in Mays Landing. Oakcrest head coach Sean Olson joining us this morning. Sean, thanks for taking the time. Great catching up, and good luck to you and your kids the rest of the year.
Thanks very much, Mike. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, you got it. Sean Olson, head coach of the Oakcrest Falcons. Again, tough loss for Oakcrest.